1, 2, 3, 4, let's go.
It's Heartbeat.
It's a fabulous show.
Alaska.
Hi, Heartbeat Alaska.
It's Heartbeat. Alaska.
Pull up a chair and enjoy the show.
You hear it from Sitka to Barrow. Gather around for Jeannie's show. It's the Aleut, the Indian, and the Eskimo. It's the Aleut, the Indian, and the Eskimo.
Welcome one, welcome all.
Hello and welcome to a Heartbeat Alaska special. We're taking a look back at the AFN Youth and Elders Conference on wellness and how the youth and elder are coming together for that one goal for all Native people. I'll be back with a fabulous show right after this.
Heartbeat Alaska would like to thank the following sponsors for making our show possible. Brown's Electric. Thank you, Brown's Electric, for your generous support. Heartbeat Alaska is also brought to you by Frontier Flying Service. Thank you, Frontier, for getting Heartbeat Alaska airborne.
Heartbeat Alaska is made possible by Kupik Carlisle Transportation, your full-service transportation and logistics company.
What is wellness? Well, depending on who you talk to, wellness can mean many things.
Wellness to me means that you motivate yourself to get up in the morning, to do something good, to say hi, to hug an elder, to feed somebody that's hungry.
Wellness means the ability to know yourself.
Everybody needs to realize that wellness is not just for people who come to AFN, but is vital to our existence and our future.
We're trying to get wellness in our lives. That's important to our communities. It's not only in the community, it's all over the state.
The elders opening up more and really getting involved.
I believe speaking up and standing up, expressing yourself is a good part of wellness.
The whole meaning of that has to be interpreted and translated together with the elders and the youth.
You want to start this campaign for wellness. Well, this is my prayer for you, is that we will end the suffering of our children. Because they are truly our only hope. That no matter where we've been as parents, no matter what we've been through, no matter how hard it might get, that we'll determine on our own that we will no longer harbor abusing our children and neglecting them. That we will all work together as brothers and sisters, and parents and elders, to protect our children. That's our hope. Every village, every single village, if they want to, could end the suffering of our children. And that's where you begin. And you have to teach them these things. Children need to know what it means to be a human being. Our children are suffering from hopelessness and loneliness. That is not excusable. We have to work extremely hard to end the suffering that we've seen so much of. And it absolutely has to begin with the little kids.
Beauty within ourselves, Alaska Native people, is that when we look at ourselves, we're able to see how how our heart is connected with ourselves, and how we're able to promote and to be able to look at each other and recognize that we are a beautiful people for everything that we have been through, for all the trauma, the grief, and sometimes we feel that shame and that hopelessness and that helplessness, and we need to learn to be proud of who we are. And Alaska Native people are beautiful people, very beautiful. And the reawakening is what's bringing us to the point of being able to recognize the beauty within ourselves.
For the indigenous people of the Hawaiian Islands, traditional songs and dance are used to preserve and perpetuate their culture, much the same way as we do in Alaska. These songs and dances from the island of Kauai have been performed for generations, being passed down from mother to daughter, father to son.
Flying in Alaska? Fly Frontier, the official airline of Heartbeat Alaska. Frontier is expanding again. They've added new routes to Nome, Kotzebue, and the surrounding villages. As you can see, Frontier is now really covering Alaska. So the next time you fly, try Frontier. Frontier offers quick, convenient check-in, low fares, and service direct to many of the villages. Frontier Flying Service is the official airline of Heartbeat Alaska. Make it your official airline too.
In the 1890s, pioneers carved a railway through the rugged mountains between Skagway and the Klondike. More than a century later, the White Pass and Yukon route still makes this legendary run. Along the way, life has gotten better for folks working on the railroad, thanks in part to Primera Blue Cross Blue Shield of Alaska, a health plan that's offered smart choices and quality coverage to the people of Alaska since before it was a state. Primera Blue Cross Blue Shield of Alaska. We're here. We're with you.
There are two sides to a man. One side is the animal, nothing but selfish pleasure. You know, the kind of man that leaves women and children alone. But the other side, now that's honorable. It's a part of you that desires to do what's right and always do your best. When you make a decision to wait to have sex, you've chosen honor. You've chosen not to expose anyone to pregnancy or disease. Because you're more than just sperm and child support. You're a man, not animal or honorable. What side controls you?
A sparsely populated peninsula, Kamchatka is about the same size as Japan. It's home to Russia's largest volcano belt, made up of 28 active craters that stretch along its shore. Today, the people of Kamchatka not only deal with surviving in a severely depressed economy, but are also faced with the fact that their land is now for sale by their government. Despite their hardships, the people of Kamchatka maintain a spirit of optimism for the future That can be seen in their dance.
Native dances from Kamchatka land, our native culture. It is kind of show presentation for the Alaska natives here in AFN conference of our traditional cultural dances, and it was imitation of the animals and birds and fishes here in Kamchatka, and because our people live in love with nature. First of all, it is the fighting for the rights for the land, because now in Russia it is since January the land can be purchased, and our people are afraid that our land can be purchased for others, for somebody. And you know, we have a law with rights of indigenous people for the land, traditional use, for traditional use, but it doesn't work in there right now because nobody understands, even government, even administration, local administration, and people, indigenous community, how to use this law. And that's maybe just the most difficult problem in my land.
По всей королевской стороне был первый весельчак.
I'm a storyteller and an actor and I guess public speaker, and I travel around and do, you know, tell stories to like banquets or up here, or I felt like I was being a storyteller back there, which was good. I'm learning, or I was told, or I figured out by myself, or I thought of, or an idea came out of the air and into my head, is we are stories. We are stories. Not just we're told stories, we are stories. I mean, the stories that are being told now are a lot of hurtful stories, a lot of family problems, fetal alcohol syndrome, alcohol, you know, addiction. And those are stories. Those are the stories. Those are examples that a lot of kids have going on.
What's our story?
I want to start telling a story of healing. You know, I want to start telling a story of creation, not reaction to stimulation, not reaction to addiction, not reaction to boredom, but just straight creation. I want to start telling this story of healing, of responding to all the things that hurt us. And there are a ton of things that hurt us, of responding to those things in a way that almost absorbs, you know, absorbs all it can take, and then allows that part to heal.
Yeah, I hear stories that are talk about the Ice Age, that talk about the flood.
The power of the stories, it's like the old myths. I mean, there's a total reason why they're told for thousands of years. Why they kept on, elders said it was so important, you need to know these stories. There's a real reason. Not because it's entertainment, not because it just satisfies you for a few seconds and then you want some more, but because it's a healthy, healing, creative example of living. And it's sometimes even so overwhelming, so powerful that we don't understand it cognitively, but it's an image of a healthier way of living.
When we find a problem, we suggest a solution, we have a plan, what do? Network? Uh-huh.
What kind of story do you want to tell? Do you want to tell a story of health, of a good, joyful story, a strong story, respectful story? Or do you want to tell a story of tragedy, of loss, of hurt, of death, victimization, you know, alcoholism, any of those things? All I do is I tell stories, and I hope people could give it back, give that off to someone else. It's a give, you know, it's not so people will come back to me. It's not so I could give them a rush. It's something that they could give back on to other people. You're as rich as how much you give. That's what I'm learning. I'm just learning this. You know, you're as rich as something that you give.
On your next visit to Anchorage, be sure to stay at the Creekwood Inn and RV Park. Now under new management, the Creekwood Inn offers 26 newly renovated rooms and a cabin that sleeps 6. If you're in town for an event, the Creekwood Inn is the nearest hotel to the Sullivan Arena. The Creekwood Inn also has 68 RV spaces available year-round and offers winter RV storage with water, electric, sewer, and cable. The Creekwood Inn and RV Park is a proud sponsor of the Iditarod Fur Rendezvous and the Alaska Fighting Championships. So the next time you're in Anchorage, visit us at the Creekwood Inn and RV Park.
Look for Heartbeat Alaska, because we're looking out for you.
Flying in Alaska? Fly Frontier, the official airline of Heartbeat Alaska. Frontier is expanding again. They've added new routes to Nome, Kotzebue, and the surrounding villages. As you can see, Frontier is now really covering Alaska. So the next time you fly, try Frontier. Frontier offers quick, convenient check-in, low fares, and service direct to many of the villages. Frontier Flying Service is the official airline of Heartbeat Alaska. Make it your official airline too.
Once upon a time, there was a wise man who built his house in the Northland where it's cold, where the wind blows, but he had a Toyo stove.
The Toyo Stove Laser 60 AT with the wood fireplace design is the perfect direct vent heating system for your home. A force flue pipe design for venting results in maximum efficiency, and a large circulation fan distributes clean heat quickly and evenly throughout your house.
Papa, you're the wise man. You have a Toyo stove.
Ariga.
If you want to get the history of what went wrong, it starts at the beginning of human beings. But it doesn't help us get well. If I take this picture, I'm pretending it's made of glass, but if I took it made of glass and smashed it here, we could then write the story of how Father Michael broke the pitcher. And we can all do videotapes on that, and all of you can write your version. We saw it, we're all eyewitnesses. Father Michael smashed that pitcher. Look at how many pieces it broke into. Knowing how the pitcher got broken would not help you fix it. Knowing how it got smashed doesn't help you put it back together. And someone who wasn't in the room when I broke it, we could give them all these pieces of glass and say, here, fix this. They'd have a hard time. Why would they have a hard time? Because they won't know what it was to start with. It's just a pile of broken glass. If we showed them a picture of the pitcher before it got broken, at least they'd have a clue what they were building. And even then, putting it back together would be a completely different process than breaking it. Now, I've been to a lot of wellness conferences the last 5-10 years. And you know what people talk about? Mostly, half the time or more? How did this pitcher get broken? We can talk about how things went wrong forever. And it makes people feel angry, and we don't want to be angry. It makes people feel sad, and we don't want to be depressed. And it makes people feel guilty. We don't want to be feeling guilty either. None of those things are healthy. So let's stop talking about how things got broken and talk about how we can put it back together. Let's fix it. And Mr. Napoleon is absolutely right. We have the power to do it.
Sparking controversy in '95, on my start took my dreams to heart. Believed in what I had seen. Knew I would learn to lean on my brother, on my sister, on either side. Seek ancestor and elder as my guide. Find balance in troubled times. Through historical lessons, find the blessings our people need. Overcome the mainstream greed. End oppression. magnify my soul and spirit, teach love and respect, break it down in a dialect, unique, that's like what you heard me speak? Truth comes to those that listen. We have stories to tell, the elders reminiscing, ages old, wisdom and tradition. It's time to break trail of the current condition. On whose land do we stand, and through whose eyes is it determined? Determining our own destiny is what we seek, but we must see clearly, discard the idea that we are weak. You see, we have connections to places unseen, the eagle and raven coming through the wind clean. And the wind whispers in my ear, the generation of our redemption is here. You see, we have cycles that need to be broken, from the mountains to the flats. I hear the words of the elders have been spoken, and the youth have made themselves clear. We have no fear, it is our languages we want to hear. Cultural revolution is about to break, make no mistake, Alaska Natives are going to take their place, transcending the stars in space. With hope and beauty, we'll fulfill our duty to future generations and stand tall as indigenous nations. I'll see you.
And no matter what the meaning may be for you, it was the reason for this year's AFN Youth and Elders Conference, a conference that focused on the strengths.
I'm going to treat all the other people around me well, even if they don't treat me well, even if I see suffering. I'm not going to live that life.
A conference that focused on hope.
We will all work together as brothers and sisters, parents and elders, to protect our children. That's our hope.
A conference that focused on the beauty of our Alaska Native people.
We are a beautiful people for everything that we have been through, for all the trauma, the grief, and sometimes we feel that shame and that hopelessness and that helplessness, and we need to learn to be proud of who we are. And Alaska Native people are beautiful people, very beautiful.
An Alaska Native reawakening.
That means reawakening. We've been sleeping.
Together we can, and together we will bring about wellness for Alaska Native people.